Seeing him live, it's just amazing, the athleticism and the strength for an 18-year-old. You see him getting by a very strong Chauncey Billups all the way to the rim, just doesn't finish. But for 18 years old, what a body, what athleticism, just amazing.
And the foul was called on Ilgauskas, a loose ball foul. So Detroit back in possession. Campbell hanging in with the 2 fouls. Nice move. Eldon Campbell over Zydrunas Ilgauskas. Pistons with a 5-point lead.
Remember back when Campbell was playing for Paul Silas in New Orleans and in Charlotte, the first 2-3 plays of the game always were post-up Campbell. And then by that time, it either showed that he was having one of his on nights or he was in early foul trouble and back on the bench again. But that's how Silas used it.
Ricky Davis getting himself in trouble in heavy traffic, leading to this. Phillips around Newble. Knocked out of bounds by the Pistons. And here comes Chris Mim. He'll replace Zydrunas Ilgauskas, a 9-2 run by the Pistons, and they lead it 15-10 with 6 minutes remaining in this opening quarter. Always like to hear those musical things.
Yeah, it was nice.
Now James back at the point. James draws a triple coverage. Here's Mim.
What a save.
Ricky Davis with the save. James for Boozer. And the crowd reacts. LeBron James with a gorgeous pass. Boozer over Okor. So the Pistons now lead by 1.
One thing Larry Brown noticed after watching a couple films on the Cavaliers, they like to run at home much more so than they do on the road. So key point for their team, make sure you're back in transition.
And the ball back to Cleveland. Well, the Cavs 5-4 here at Gund Arena and shooting 45% at home, averaging 98 points compared to 86 points a game on the road, where they are 0-12.
Well, as long as Mike doesn't argue with us, they're a young team. So winning on the road is difficult when you're young, and part of it is just not being able to finish games and making mistakes defensively, taking some bad shots.
Here's Boozer. He's been on fire.
And they talked it over, which is good teamwork, I think, by the officials. And perhaps Clark said I had a better look at it, and I thought it was a good block. I'm just assuming that's what was said in a little conversation.
Cavaliers 27, Pistons 23. We're early second quarter. Marv Albert, Lazar, Mike Fratello, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager. Nice move by Williamson.
Here's the isolation that they used to use last year and the season before that got Williamson going offensively.
Once again, James was double teamed. Not a good shot. And Prince guns it down. Okor putting moves on Stewart. Stewart came up with a blocked shot. Cavaliers are second in the NBA in that department. They average 7 rejections a game.
Larry Brown is not happy with that shot. That's not Okur's shot. He's got to be a little more patient.
And Darius Miles, who had just checked in, lost it. Darius Miles has been coming off the bench as of late and has picked up his play.
Remember back in exhibition season, Darius Miles, as Miles picks it off, started as the starting point guard for a number of the exhibition games.
Oh, James putting the speed on and draws the foul.
Well, that's the type of play that I think the Cavs had hoped for out of Miles. He's an energy guy. If he can get the ball in the middle of the floor, he's a good passer. As you see here, he throws it up to James, who is such a good finisher around the basket, although he doesn't.
Of which knows that when it's shaped like a V, you can call it a V set.
It's a V set. It's very clever. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Wallace with the rebound, try to save it. And it's deflected. And last touch by Detroit.
Would it have been better for me to call it a double high set? Would you have liked that better?
I really think that some of us need, remedial type language, because
you're right. Some of us really do. You're correct.
Can't we all just get along? Didn't Rodney King say that? Can't we all just get along?
James. LeBron James from here.
Here's the double high set again, Mark.
It's a V set, isn't it?
Boozer. James with the tip. And Stewart lost it to Hamilton. Foul is called on Ricky Davis. Cavaliers with their 5th team foul. So the Pistons to the line. Richard Hamilton had that 44-point game, a career high against the Cavaliers at the Palace of Auburn Hills. That was 2 weeks ago.
Marv, take a look at this, Marv. Double high, 2 corners. Now watch what happens when you connect the lines. Look, it looks like a V.
Very good.
Get that?
But we did not know that earlier. You were talking to a handful.
His friends and relatives? Maybe?
No, they would not. In fact, they are here. A minute remaining in the first half. LeBron James able to bank it home.
I think he missed that shot by about 2 feet long and got lucky.
Down to 45 seconds to go in the half. Cleveland with a 4-point advantage. Rabracha is fouled. Off the fake, Newble went flying.
Paul Silas mentioned to us that the way Hamilton went for 44 last time against him was a series of baseline screens. He said, we have to do a better job of helping him. Well, they did help that time, and they stepped out with the big man. And as soon as Hamilton touched it, he fired the pass right back.
On the inbounds, Newble comes back to help. Pistons have picked it up after the poor shooting through a good portion of the second quarter. Davis on the back tap. Another possession for Cleveland. James for 3. Been an outstanding first half for the 18-year-old LeBron James. 5 of 9, 16 points, and 4 assists.
I actually watched him pre-game shooting 3-pointers. When he had his feet set, Mark, in 3 spots that I watched him shoot, he made about 12 out of 15 3-pointers. Would have been
points for Cleveland. There is a 3-second differential between the game clock and shot clock. Ben Wallace was all alone. And he was spotted.
Well, we could either say beautiful execution by Detroit or terrible defense by Cleveland. Probably a little of both.
Final seconds. First half, it's all LeBron. Being played by Atkins from way downtown. Halftime here at the Gund Arena in Cleveland. The Cavaliers 49 and the Pistons 46. 55% shooting by the Cavs. Detroit got it up to 42 at the half. And LeBron James, 16 points, 5 for 10 for the field, 4 assists. Let's go to Craig with LeBron.
Well, Lon, you have the 3-point lead. You guys have been off to good starts, but losing games in the fourth quarter. What do you have to do differently tonight to hold this lead?
You know, mentally just stay focused and just come out and play the same way we did the first half by playing hard on defense and running out on breaks.
Counting the preseason, this is your 29th game this year. That's 3 more than you played all of last year. Is the season wearing, getting tiring?
No, I feel good out there. You know, this is a dream for me. You know, I come out and play basketball every day, you know, which I love to do.
The shot off the drive that went off the backboard. Steve Kerr said you overshot it by 2 feet. You did call glass, didn't you?
Yeah, of course, Steve. I call glass.
All right, thanks a lot.
James over Hamilton. And rebounded by Wallace. For Ben Wallace, only his 4th rebound of the night. And his numbers have been down, although he is still among the leaders in that department. He's just under 13 rebounds per game. Tayshaun Prince with the change of pace move to draw the foul. That's 4 on Ilgauskas. You mentioned our conversation with Paul Silas. We asked him what the state of LeBron James is. Now, he's played well here tonight, but he said he's kind of struggling with the losing. Cavs have dropped 9 of the last 10. He said his enthusiasm, talking of James, has waned with that losing. He was sky high at the start of the season.
I think he's in a difficult spot because he's 18 and he's being asked to be the leader of this team. And that's a tough spot to be in at that age. I think it's going to take a year or 2 before this team really trusts the high school kid to be the leader.
Another Cavalier turnover that Hamilton gets it right back. sloppy play at both ends.
Can you be a leader at 18 years of age?
I don't think you can. I mean, if you look at Zydrunas Ilgauskas, he's been in the league, what, 7 or 8 years. Ricky Davis has been around. You're going to tell me that they can look at an 18-year-old kid and just listen to everything he says and trust him? It takes time.
Carlos Boozer with 18 points.
That's the same set that Craig Sager just told us about. That horn set, the double high post set, another basket for Cleveland off it. Silas stays with it, as he said he would.
Paul Silas telling us that it would have been better if LeBron James were with a veteran team and then coming off the bench where he would be so effective. But how do you get a #1 overall pick with a veteran team? Phillips with a nice turnaround, although Detroit had the 2nd overall pick. They could have selected Carmelo Anthony. Instead, they went for Darko Milicic out of Serbia, an 18-year-old 7-footer who is still finding his way. He's appeared in only 7 games.
It's a more natural progression, though. He's got to pay his dues, and he's learning, and he's going to get better in practice. That seems to be the way it should work.
Ilgauskas. Larry Brown saying that Darko wants to be Tony Kukoc. He wants to stand outside and shoot. He said, I want him to be Bill Russell. And he said Darko had no idea who Bill Russell was.
Well, he also said he thinks that down the road he'll probably wind up being 7'1", 300 pounds, because he's just a youngster.
And a pushing foul is called. And there is Darko. Larry saying it'll take a few years. Says he has great skills. Piston players say he has become Americanized. He still likes what he calls Serbian country music, but he has been listening to hip-hop, which is the influence of Chauncey Billups, who's taken him under his wing. Campbell not able to hit. Wallace trying to stuff it, then comes away with the rebound.
Marv, I had a chance to go to Detroit in training camp as we see the foul by LeBron James, but spent a couple of days in Detroit watching their practices, and you'd be amazed at this kid's athleticism. He absolutely runs like a deer, and watching him in fast break drills is stunning. But the same thing, at the same time, it was very apparent that he's not very strong underneath the basket. And he's working with their strength coach, Arnie Kander. He's trying to become more explosive, a little stronger. He just hasn't played enough yet to really be effective against NBA big men.
Campbell. Elvin Campbell with his 3rd bucket. He has 8 points, so the Cavalier lead is 1.
And Larry Brown mentioned to us that the big accomplishment this week for Darko is that he got his driver's license.
Yes.
He's very excited about getting his driver's license now.
Shot clock down to 6. Cavaliers will put it inside court. Larry Brown applauding the deflection.
They're going back to guys who have paid their dues, as you said, Steve. Kobe Bryant didn't start when he came into the league. He had a guy named Eddie Jones there in front of him.
Neither did Tracy McGrady.
Here's James going to the pull-up. That shot looking pretty good tonight.
That's unbelievable. I know we keep saying he's only 18, but 6 seconds on the shot clock. You know that the guy's going to have to make a one-on-one move. He just makes a little left-hand dribble and leaps over everybody for the shot.
Rebounded by Davis. James taking all the way. Boozer able to reach forward. He's rejected. He's tied up. Jump ball.
I'll give you another guy who didn't start right away. In fact, he sat for a long time until he decided that he needed to be traded. He's a pretty good player now, Jermaine
O'Neal. That's right. But don't you think that experience on the bench and the fact that he didn't get to play, don't you think that helped him? I mean, you have to pay your dues as a young player. You have to understand what the league is about, and you have to be hungry.
Here's Hamilton giving it up. Tayshaun Prince from Richard Hamilton. The Cavalier lead is 1 with just under 7 remaining in this 3rd quarter.
Detroit has the personnel to run, and I think Larry Brown would love for this team to score more fast break points, and I think we'll be seeing more of that as the year goes on and they get more comfortable with Larry Brown's offense.
Here is Boozer. Carlos Boozer extends to a 3-point Cleveland lead. The Pistons come in third in the Central Division. They're 3 games behind Rick Carlisle's Indiana Pacers. 14-8. They dropped their last 2 after winning 4 in a row. On the rejection, it is deflected out of bounds. So the ball back to Cleveland.
Here's an example of LeBron's unbelievable athleticism and his youth. He got beat middle completely. A very poor defensive play initially. He's just so good athletically. He just runs back, jumps over everybody, and blocks the shot.
Braun operating now at the point, looking for help. Broken up by Prince.
Actually picked up his dribble way too high. 1 step over the half-court line. The pressure got him to pick up his dribble, and then he had to make a long entry pass to the wing, which got deflected.
Here's Davis. Offensive foul. It's been a long night for Ricky Davis. That is his second foul. He's 0 for 3 from the field. Has scored just as Campbell rejected by Ilgauskas. James to the left hand, and he draws the foul.
Well, that's one guy that they're not talking about trading LeBron James, but as you go around, you see James again. We saw him earlier come across the lane and switch from right to left to make the left-handed layup. He goes up, 2 hands, floats it with the left hand, and just misses the layup attempt right there. He thought he was going to the line for a 3-point play. But we talk more about names that are out there from the Cleveland roster. You know, DeJuan Wagner, who's been out with his 2nd knee surgery now, is a name that's out there. Chris Mim, 1 week is out there, next week is not out there. There is Jim Paxson, the general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers, who is responsible for putting this roster together. Darius Miles, another name that's out there as far as the trade rumors go. He's not satisfied with this roster yet. He's looking to make perhaps 1 or 2 more moves to give Paul Silas the kind of team that they think can compete in the East for a playoff spot.
Foul committed by Newble. 4 fouls apiece on the opposing centers. Eldon Campbell and Zydrunas Ilgauskas, and that's number 4 on Ira Newble. There's DeJuan Wagner recovering from surgery on his right knee, missed the final 20 games of last season. So Hamilton to the line, and we remind you tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN. It'll be the Sonics and these Detroit Pistons, followed by the Mavericks and the Lakers. Lakers 18-3 going for their 11th straight win. Saturday on NBA TV, Celtics and the Cavaliers at 7:30 Eastern time. And on Sunday, the Wizards and the Knicks from Madison Square Garden, 7 o'clock Eastern time.
How is the return of McDyess going for the Knicks?
I would say up and down. I think Antonio would be the first to tell you on this recent West Coast trip that he has to take the ball to the basket, shooting jump shots. There's some good signs. Ilgauskas with a nice move, but then he seemed to fall back after some solid play, which I'm told will happen, coming back from, as it turns out, 3 surgeries on the same knee.
So difficult as a player to find any sort of rhythm if you're out for a week or 2, much less a year or 2.
Traveling violation that time by Campbell. Catches it in the high post, faces up. He had Ilgauskas beat. The problem is he forgot to dribble first.
Cavaliers 62 and the Pistons 56. Ilgauskas with Boozer, Miles, Davis, and James on the court for Paul Silas. Boozer with a rare miss. Czar talking to young fans as the game progresses.
We're talking about 4th grade things.
I see.
Talking about LeBron's autobiography, I think.
Exactly. He was a contributor, the youngster next to him.
He played with him last year on his team, didn't he?
Here's Rebraca. And Ilgauskas able to dig it out. And James waits for teammates to move back down court. The question regarding Ricky Davis is why has he not been playing with the kind of energy that we saw in the past? And a 3-second violation. We asked Paul Silas about Ricky earlier. He said, well, he's been playing better. As Paul said, he's trying, and that's all I want to say about it. which means he did not want to talk very much about Ricky Davis.
Well, you asked why is he not playing with the same energy? Because that same energy was producing too many wild shots, too many turnovers as a result, and you know what their record's been over the last couple seasons. So what they're trying to do is, reel him in a little bit, make him understand a little bit better the objective of team play and sharing the basketball.
Phillips off the mark, and here comes Davis. Well, there's some energy.
If you know, in fact, that it was the correct call. I don't think there's any problem with officials taking that extra half second to make sure that they're making the right call. So, again, if it's late, but it's the correct one, I don't have a big problem with that.
And, we always have the luxury of watching the replay. When you watch an NBA game from courtside or from the bench, where I spent a lot of time in my career, you'll see a play and you'll think, was that a foul? I have no idea. And then you have to look at the replay to make a judgment. Then you think that these three guys are out here every game trying to figure it all out. As it happens, it's a pretty difficult job.
Foul was called on Mim. Here's Davis. Get the idea following that. Look out, Bobby Sora nearly landing on the lap of his one-time head coach, Lazar.
Coming Monday.
Here's another look. See Sora stumbling. And all right, someone's water went over.
I think that was mine. It wasn't Desar's latte.
Not a good shot by Okor. Larry Brown is Ben Wallace, Mehmet Okor, Jermaine Folks up front with Chucky Atkins and Bobby Sora in the backcourt. Atkins, and the poor Piston shooting continues. Nice save. Good play by Davis. Here's James taking all the way, lays it off to Boozer, and he is fouled. So Carlos Boozer will head to the line.
Number 24, Jermaine Folks, his first team second.
The complete all-around game of James, taking it right into the heart of the defense, and then a very unselfish player finding Boozer down inside. I don't know, but to me, Steve, right now it seems that Cleveland's sense of urgency is greater than Detroit's. The five guys on the court for Cleveland want this win more than Detroit does at this moment.
And I think the other thing we're seeing is Detroit's lack of bench help tonight. And they've been fine when Hamilton and Billups have been out there, but they really haven't been at all potent off.
Half minutes.
Well, we talked about it a little bit before, but they missed the shooting of Barry and of Cliff Robinson. And they just can't score.
Boozer is fouled by Wallace. It has been a superb game for Carlos Boozer. 11 of 16 from the field. He has 23 points, 6 rebounds. I talk about that one field goal the last 9.5 minutes, and that was scored by Rebrasha for his only field goal of the night.
When you have breakdowns defensively, you can lose trust. In this particular case, you're going to see another slip screen. Watch right in this situation as the offensive player slips the screen. He's counting on these people behind him to give help. Wallace starts to step up on a pick and roll. Instead, the slip and the foul on the inside. When teams don't cover for each other, you make your big men reluctant to step out and try and hedge on pick and roll situations. You're depending on the man behind you to make a rotation.
Hamilton and Atkins in the backcourt. Wallace, Williamson, Folks up front. Wednesday night home for Chicago. Career high game 2 weeks ago against the Cavaliers. Miles and Folks able to gather it in. Cavaliers lead 79-66. Here's Phillips, rejected by Stewart. It's a 4-on-1. As Davis puts it down. Nice pass from Miles.
It's almost like, you want to say to Phillips, where were you going with that shot? Because he wasn't really at the top or peak of his jump, and there's a shot blocker standing right there in front of you. So what were you intending on doing that particular time?
Well, Yogi Stewart can block shots. We know that. He has great anticipation. And if they can block shots, Cleveland has so much athleticism. When they're in the open floor, it's going to be a dunk.
Tayshaun Prince returns. Corliss Williamson at the line.
And Ricky Davis has come on now, 13 points, 11 of his 13 in this second half. Stewart was called on the foul that puts Williamson at the line. 6:14 remaining in the fourth quarter. So the Cavaliers now lead 81-67. Cleveland at 5-16. They have dropped 9 of the last 10. At one point, they lost 8 in a row. They stopped the losing streak this past Saturday night with a win over Atlanta. James played by Phillips. Miles met by Prince. Got a hand on it. Recovered by Davis. And Ricky Davis with 13 points the last 12 minutes.
And you called it, Mark. When he made that reverse dunk on the fast break, all of a sudden his energy was sky high. He's a guy who feeds off of scoring.
Williamson is fouled. Look at his numbers as compared to LeBron. The Lakers at the time were 14-7.
You think that may have had something to do with a guy named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Norm Nixon, Jamal Wilkes? You know any of those names, Mike?
Are you sliding magic?
Not sliding magic. I'm just saying he had a little more help than LeBron.
Steve, doesn't he have a way of just turning it on you? You make a statement, and he just tries to get you into trouble.
It's annoying sometimes, frankly.
5:44 remaining in this fourth quarter. Cavaliers with an 83-69 lead on the Pistons. And here's some pressure being shown by Detroit. James back, met by Phillips and Hamilton. And they handle the pressure. Davis to the fadeaway.
That was not one of his better shots tonight.
Bad pass, but it's recaptured by Hamilton. Prince taking to the rim. A facial served up by Tayshaun Prince. So the Pistons now down by 12. And once again, some pressure. Boozer with Miles and Stewart on the front line now. Here's Davis getting inside. And the Pistons looking to put together a run. Hesitation dribble by Hamilton, gets it out to Prince for 3.
I was just about to say, 1 3-pointer will force a timeout by Paul Silas. There you have it by Prince, and the timeout by Silas.
15,115 here at Gund in Cleveland. And they have seen the Pistons go on a 7-0 run to move with an 8.
And we'll see Detroit here the Cavs making some substitutions. Prince has done well. He's beautiful baseline drive for the dunk, and then he knocked down the 3 right after that to help Detroit cut into this lead. But the Cavs will now bring in Kevin Ollie, and I think that's something that Paul Silas is going to do because they've had so much trouble finishing games. Ollie's a guy who's a veteran. He knows how to play the point guard spot. He'll try to get Cleveland some good shots here in the half-court set.
Cleveland is led by as many as 16 points, and it's down to 8. Foul on Williamson, making contact with Boozer.
That's his first penalty.
And both teams are over the foul limit, so Carlos Boozer will go to the line. He's 4 by 10. Brutus Ilgauskas has checked back in, as has Ira Newble. Here's Prince for 3. Tayshaun Prince with another 3-pointer.
Well, he's feeling it. 7-point game now here, so exactly what Paul Silas talked about. Can they finish a game?
Prince has 11. LeBron James, yes. Cavaliers 87, Pistons 78-21 for James.
What Paul Silas did by putting Ollie in is he reduced the number of players that might feel they need to have shot attempts at the basket to try to get high percentage shots.
Off the turnover, Ollie for Newble gives it right back, and Ollie will will reset with just under 4 remaining in this fourth quarter. Marv Albert with the czar, Mike Fratello, Steve Kerr, and Craig Sager. We're in Cleveland, Ohio. LeBron James and the Cavs extend the lead. The fadeaway by James to give his Cavaliers an 89-78 advantage.
He made the shot, but it still was not a good shot at that time. They could get a better one.
And an offensive foul on Prince. That's his third.
Well, it may not have been a great shot, at least execution-wise, but that's a big shot. And that's what superstar players have to do. Make big shots in situations where their team is trying to win a game. And that was impressive. I know you didn't like the offensive execution, Mike, but man, nice to have a guy like LeBron on your side.
Well, that's what stars do. They take the situations that regular average players, it's a horrendous shot. The ball's not going to go in. Stars make it go in.
Now James working on Prince again to the fadeaway. And here's Wallace out of the pack. Phillips from downtown. Ilgauskas able to one-hand it. Chauncey Phillips has been off, only 5 for 14. 2:45 remaining in the fourth. Cavaliers looking to hold on for a precious victory. That was not a good pass by James. 3-on-2. James with the rejection. And this crowd responds.
Well, the pass may not have been a good pass a couple seconds before, but the youngster comes right back and makes up for it by saving 2 points with the rejection.
Here's Hamilton. He is fouled. Newell was looking for the block, but it's called for the foul. And Hamilton will go to the line. Richard Hamilton, one of the best free throw shooters in the league.
Paul Silas can't believe that call. Looked like Newell got all ball there.
Well, you know how coaches are, Steve. You can't always believe coaches' faces because Larry Brown at one end is upset, Paul Silas at the other end is upset. But that's the way it is for coaches. Down the stretch in particular, every call is a bad call if it's against you.
Well, a rare miss for Hamilton, an 86% free throw shooter.
Well, looks pretty good to me.
If the ball is in the shooter's hand and the defender hits his hand, that's supposed to be okay, based on what we are told.
And I don't even know if he hit his hand. It looked like a clean block.
Cleveland up by 10. Detroit with pressure. Ilgauskas able to help at center court. Ollie. And Newell played aggressively by Hamilton. James with the shot clock down to 7. James forced deep into the corner. They work it to Ollie. Yes! Kevin Ollie, who has played for 9 teams in 6 seasons, spent just 1 season with the same team. That was Philadelphia back in 1999-2000. The solid guy, Ben Wallace, able to put it down. Cavaliers now lead 91-81.
I know there's still a lot of time left, but this just seems like it's one of those nights that Cleveland is executing and getting the shots to go down for them when they have to hold on and win a game.
And they're shooting 54% from the field. If they can hang out of that number, that's a season high. Here's Ilgauskas. Zydrunas Ilgauskas has 10 points.
And how about Kevin Ollie? I mean, he barely played the whole game. Silas puts him in just for the last few minutes for some execution purposes, and he's making big play after big play.
Detroit, one of the better shot blocking teams in the NBA. In fact, they are right behind Cleveland in block shots as a team. They hold their opponents normally to just over 42% shooting from the floor. Right now, Cleveland approaching the 55% mark.
Ira Newell is fouled out. So the Cavaliers have lost Newell and Mim on fouls. Ben Wallace, 2 for 4 from the line. We mentioned earlier he has improved the free throw shooting this season up at 56%. Last year he was well below that, and he's shot as low as 41%, which is the lowest free throw percentage of all time. Coming up, it's the Hornets and the Suns. Kevin Harlan, Doug Collins from Phoenix. That's the second of our TNT doubleheader. Cavaliers now lead by 10 with 1:15 remaining in the fourth. And it looks like Larry Brown will give Darko Milicic a cameo when we get a stoppage in play. James once again went to the fadeaway.
Yeah, when he fades, he's kind of cocking the ball back on his shoulder, shooting it from there.
Atkins on a quick release, hits from downtown. 93-86 the score. They pull Darko back. It's a 7-point game with just under 1 minute remaining. And the foul is called on Atkins. Both teams over the foul limit, and we will see Darko Milicic appearing in only his 8th game of the season, the 2nd overall pick in the draft. He's just 18 years old. He was taken after the Cavaliers selected LeBron James, taken in front of Carmelo Anthony, selected by Denver. Kevin Ollie done a good job. He's played the last 10 minutes. He's an 82% free throw shooter. Cavs 95, Pistons 86. Atkins being watched by Ollie. Finds Milicic, and he's rejected by Ilgauskas.
And remember, that's what Larry Brown said today. When he gets the ball down the low post, because he's not used to playing with his back to the basket, sometimes he just turns and shoots it, and the 7-footers block his shot.
He's yet to score, and this is 8th game. He's 0 for 4 from the field. They're on their feet here at Gund Arena in Cleveland. James over Fultz, way off. And it's a 24-second violation. I think LeBron, playing to the crowd, would like to have hit that. The shot clock was running down, but Cavaliers now lead 95-86 as we come up on 10 seconds remaining in the game. And this will be a 3rd straight loss for Detroit. They will drop to 14-9. There's Prince. Oh, Milicic blew the stuff and can't believe it. The Cavaliers with a 95-86 victory over the Pistons. So the Cavs have now, after losing 8 in a row, won 2 of their last 3, and they are now 6-16.
I would think that Paul Silas would tell us this might be one of their best overall games.
Well, they shoot 52%. Carlos Boozer, career high 28. LeBron James played well, 23 points, 9 assists. Let's go to Craig Sager.
Well, it was a career-high 28 points for Carlos Boozer, also matching your career-high in assists with 9. Why did you guys execute so much better down the stretch tonight?
You know, we didn't been to games like this down the stretch, and now we just really starting to find out how to win down the stretch, and it showed up.
Message Magic Johnson had for you. He said, LeBron, take over, take charge. You are the leader. Don't worry about your teammates. Did you feel responsibility to take over?
You know, me and Boozer was in the flow tonight. You know, they look at me as a leader. You know, if I have to score or if I have to pass, you know, I was there for them tonight, and we pulled out the victory.
During your high school career, you lost only 5 games. You guys lost 16. You expected to win every night at Duke. How good does a win like this feel in the NBA?
Oh, it feels great. You know, they're a playoff caliber team, one of the top teams in the East, and for us to beat them at home is a big sign for us.